amigos. It's Angelica Yingst. I am here, and you're going to see my hands move because I talk with my hands. But um, I'm going to do a tarot reading here to show you how I would work with a layout I created. And one of the reasons I want to do this is because people often will say, okay, I get the layout, but what do I do with it? Well, you can use any kind of cards. You can use tarot cards, you can use Oracle deck, you can do whatever. If you throw bones, you can put bones in there. So what I do is I'll take like a seasonal energy, for example, in my book, the complete tarot layouts. Now, ignore the messiness of this because I literally use it all the time. This is my book of different layouts that I created. Now, I didn't create the Celtic cross, so okay, forgive me for that first one. But full moon layouts, solstice spreads. So I do use it, and what I would do is just put it up wherever I'm going to read and then use it as a guide. But for this one, I just made this skull layout, so I printed it. And you can just write it out in your journal if you want. And why am I using the skull? Well, I'm doing Skull Week here with my friends Julie and Suzanne. So Julie is at Stone Spelling and Suzanne's at the Midnight Owl, and we all like skulls. And Julie was purchasing skulls from Suzanne and basically was like, why do we always wait until October? And then when we finally get the skull after we order it, we don't have time to work with it. So she said, I want to, work with skulls now because then I can kind of prepare if I want to get a different skull or do other skull things in October when we honor the ancestors. And that's part of it. So I've done a lot of ancestor tarot layouts, but I haven't worked with the skull as iconography. And you can see this beautiful obsidian skull. I also have this, I love this piece. I got it last year from Noel and Jill, if you know them. I use this so often. Maybe it was 2 years ago. I don't remember. I love that little raven skull. It's smoky quartz. It's rocking. So anyway, usually we talk about ancestral work with the skull, but the iconography of the skull has been used to represent wisdom and eternity and impermanence and all those things. So I really wanted to use it to tap into the idea of the eternal wisdom that we have that exists in the bones before programming, before we started to see, before, so it's sort of the eternal skull, right? So I used the layout based on different points. So the first one's basically like a chakra point. That's the crown, the third eye, the eye sockets which have no eyes. Basically the idea is what have you seen that your eyes aren't picking up, right? The nose, what's right in front of your nose that you're not seeing? Okay, and then these two kind of represent ears, but one's past, one's future. And then this is the mouth. So what I'm using today is now I don't usually read with this deck, so we'll see how I do, but this is the Santa Muerte Tarot. It's basically the Book of the Dead, and it was written by Fabio Listrani. And I don't know if he did the artwork as well. And this is a little book that comes with it. Really cool one. Now I have to tell you, my bestie, I think I got it from her, but then I think she told me last time that I saw her that she thinks she got it from me. Very possible. Everything's new when you are postmenopausal. So I'm excited to try this deck, which it was open. I must have used it. Do I remember it? Nada. No. Okay. So so I cut it into 3. I did do all my rituals of praying. So I'm a clear and open channel through which spirit may speak truth and only truth for the highest good of all. Amen. And I'm going to ask my guides in to show me the wisdom and help me connect with my own skull, but also with all my crystal skulls and all the skulls that have existed in my ancestral line. Okay. And you can see I love my ancestral stuff. So I'm going to just move my camera up. This is what's in front of me. That's the ancestor one, the living in the dead. That is a native person from Panama, where my family is from. And so I keep that image. And then there's the Corn Mother. And I have this ancestral one here. I love this painting. These two paintings, that and that postcard, are from the same artist, which I love. Okay, let's start. So what I did is cut into three, and I sometimes do this. I don't always do this. I will rearrange it back into a pile, but for this one, I just kept the three piles up. And so I'll pull from different piles for different things. So first one is, what do I need to know about this situation? So what I'm going to really ask is, show me what I need to know about my life right now. What's the energy around everything that's going on with me? Okay, so what do I need to know about this situation? We're going to get, first of all, the King of Swords. Okay, and that came up reversed. I love that. That's a good skull. Okay, and so what do you want for this situation? That's my third eye. Okay, the King of Wands. So we have these two kings battling each other, right? What do I know and what do I want? Okay, I'm running out of space already. All right, let's do the first eye, the three. I have that here. This is, what have you seen or experienced that influences you now about this situation? The Knight of Swords. Okay. And then what do I need to see? What do I need to see as I'm coming up about it? This is just wands. 10 of Wands. Reversed. Interesting. 10 of Wands reversed. That's the burden. Okay. I always translate to the Rider-Waite. And I mean, I can fairly do that because most every deck is based on the right. It's either the Rider-Waite or the Thoth that they're based on. So, and I believe this one is Rider-Waite. So what sits in front of you that you cannot see? This is in your nose. Okay. The King of Cups. Oh my gosh, this, all the lines are, the whole line is kings. Okay, what the heck? And then what is ready to be released or buried with this situation? That's a good question, if I don't say so myself. This is the Three of Swords. Heartbreak, people, heartbreak. Okay. I need to release the heartbreak. I like that. I am actually going to move my little, I use this when I'm doing healing work. And it sits at the soul star. So I have this infinity. And I like it because it looks like the magician, or any of those cards like strength that have the infinity symbol at the head, representing the esoteric knowledge. So what I'm basically doing is calling in that esoteric knowledge from my clients to bring in. Okay, so let's do the mouth now. And the mouth is, what is ready, what needs to be said? The Fool. Nice. Okay, I like that. Look at the Fool. Off on a journey with the guitarra. I need to play guitar. That's part of what my energy is right now. All right, and then the outcome. I'm going to do this pile here. Oh, geez. The Eight of Swords. Ooh, rough one. That's a rough card. Okay, so if I were going to read this, I'm looking at this, got lots of kings. Okay, so there's a lot of boss energy and a lot of energy of being kind of in charge, being in control, blah, blah, blah. The daddy, the poppy, so to speak. From major arcana, we basically only have one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 swords. So we got a lot of in my head stuff. And then we have 2 wands and a cup, but no earth, right? So maybe I want to look at grounding. So what do I know about this situation? Well, the King of Swords reverse is telling me, as I'm communicating, maybe I'm communicating in ways that are really closed, that are really not going to be open and sorry, my dogs start barking. So, oh, okay, my dog's just sorry, we're barking. The kings really, they're always going to represent wisdom. They're always going to represent that masculine energy. Now, part of the reversal when you get the King of Swords in particular is the black and white thinking. It's the double-edged sword. And I can just tell you that I have a teenager at home, two teenagers. One of them is someone I seem to keep butting heads with. Now, we laugh a lot together, but he tells me I'm wrong a lot. Um, I was asking him if he thought I pushed my politics on him. He said, yes. Simple. Yes, you do. And then he said that my husband does not, which he definitely does. So, it's something we both do. We talk about whatever's coming up in our heads. You know what I mean? So, that's because we both have ADHD and we don't have much of a filter. But anyway, um, you know, when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm acting like a dictator and I'm not being very mindful of my kid being a teenager, right? So I have to open my heart. I have to kind of be in that place where he knows that, or I have to stop being this. So if I were like, I'm doing this reading for me, so I would say like, what is the advice here for me? Um, oh gosh, there's a just an intro card. Um, how do I switch this around? um, I'm getting the Ace of Pentacles. So I have to call in Earth energy. So important, right? Like, look at that. That is a overgrown skull. And that to me is an important visual. It shows that there's something that was an old way of being. And I have to get sort of into this tangible plane and be very present with him and not push too much and all of that. Now, in the second one, what do I want for this? The King of Wands. I do want it to be, I want to have that authoritative way of being, but not be authoritarian, right? Authoritarian is my way or the highway. Authoritative is confident, um, knowledgeable, creative. I mean, the wands are all about creativity and growth, and I want to be all of that for him for sure. And for all my kids, I want them to be like, "Oh, mom will figure this out. Like she's good at figuring things out." So, that's that. Now, in the 3 position here, um we see the idea of what have you experienced that influences you now about this situation, and it's the Knight of Swords. So we have the king is that mature energy. The knight is the one that rushes forward and speaks without thinking and all of that kind of stuff. Now, obviously I don't want to be speaking without thinking. That's not my MO, but because it's upright, there is a kind of active part. It is an authoritative positioning, which is nice because I've been that before for them. That's what it's telling me because it's in the past. I've been that before, so I can move forward. And, he might be ready to fight and spar. That's what knights do. They fight. And with the swords, you're going to think about it with the mind, with words, with all of those things. Um, there is limits to that, and I need to pick my battles, I think is what it's saying. It's in the past saying, you are good at arguing, you are good at moving that forward, but, looking at what you want, which is to be creative and dynamic and interesting versus just being like that. So I need to be, you know, thinking about that as my past. Now in the four, what do I need to see about this situation right now? Here I am getting the 10 of Wands reversed. So the 10 of Wands, when we think of it in the major arcana, or sorry, in the Rider Waite, what we're thinking of it as is the burden card. Okay. In this one, we see the chrysalis, right? The newly birthed butterfly. Butterflies are wonderful symbols of rebirth. And so there's kind of a rebirth happening. So, if this is kind of reversed, at least in the Rider Waite, it means we overcome some of that burden. We figure some of that out. I think that, like in this one, the upright looks really positive to me, like all the flowers and growth and the rebirth and all of that stuff. So I do think like the burden of rebirth, this this is past when it's upright. I think in the reversal, it means, hey, look at what's around you. Like, are you embracing all of this growth? Are you embracing rebirth, or are you going back to old ways of being, authoritarian versus authoritative, right? So, I think what I really need to see right now is, how is this some way that you have changed who you were and you're going back to it, right? So now we're kind of looking at like what sits right in front of your nose that you can't see, the King of Cups. Now, the King of Cups is emotional, very emotional. And he is a poet, he's the musician, but that skull is drinking. And I am a recovering alcoholic. Now, I haven't had alcohol in over 13 years, so not always like a thing on the forefront of my mind. But I think that if I probably went back through some of my old behaviors, which is something we really, really do talk about a lot in recovery, I would see that, hey, this behavior, the thing I'm not seeing is some of that old behavior coming back. Now, it's upright, it's not punishing me, it's not yelling at me. So I'm thinking it's probably saying, hey, well, um, you know, you might be doing kind of awesome at times, but you still have to go back and look at your old behavior and see how it mirrors now. So at the six, what is ready to be released is the Three of Swords. Okay, reversed. So the Three of Swords is a card of heartbreak. When we see it in the Rider Waite, it has the heart with three swords piercing it. And so that energy is all about triangulating, if that makes sense. It's all about three-way heartbreak and everything. So I think this, when we think of it in terms of this deck, what we're looking at is this heartbroken skeleton, and it looks like it's cutting itself. I don't know. I can't tell. I don't know. Do you see that? He's holding the sword. Maybe this is about the battle that they just went through and the regret. And so, they regret what they did to each other, maybe. So reverse is letting go of that. So maybe what I'm ready to release is mistakes I made with Tommy and with my other kids, to kind of get back to who I am. So I just have to kind of release the fact that I wasn't perfect and then go move forward. Because Tommy and I, we can argue. Now I'm just in my own defense, I'm just going to say he's an Aries sun and an Aries rising and a Scorpio moon. So process that while I look at the next one. Okay, what needs to be said is here, the Fool, which is, hey, I just want to have fun, right? I want to enjoy you. I want to be friends with you. And I think that's part of the energy. It's funny. How did I know this was about my kid? You might be asking me, Angie, why did you automatically know it was about your kid? Because it's been in the forefront of my brain, so I'm interpreting that way. And that's okay, you know? Like, what did I want this situation? You know, I said, what do you want to show me about my life right now? And I see the authoritarian coming up being an asshole, and I was like, oh yeah, that's me. I get it, you know. So the fool is really, I love that it's kind of counter that because there's no lighter non-authoritative or authoritarian figure than the fool. The fool follows the path as it unfolds, and that makes the fool really kind of amazing, right? So I love that the fool came up here, and so it's kind of like I can um say to him, I really want a new start with you. You know, I really want to uh, go on this path with you as you become a teenager. And I know I'm not exactly always the person you want to hang with, but when we hang, I don't want us to be bickering all the time, right? Now, my outcome here is the Eight of Swords. And I think, you know, one of the things we always have to say when we are doing tarot readings is that the outcome is the outcome if nothing changes. Okay? So when we have the Eight of Swords, which is basically the victim and martyr card. Okay, and I'm going to just do a little confessional. I have been known to play the victim at times. Surprising, I know. It's shocking that a codependent recovering alcoholic might feel like a victim sometimes. Shocking. But that's true. So, you know, one of the things about this one is it's a little different. It doesn't show like a victimization. What it shows are swords being ready to fight the storm that's about to come. So I think what it's saying to me is your teenage years aren't behind you. You know, you're not done with this kid, but you have to be ready and sort of um, prepare for not taking things personally. Okay, and so let me see if there's any other info for this. Queen of Swords, bring in the feminine. Okay, because I'm trying to change that masculine sword. I need to bring in the Queen of Swords. She is my homegirl. Now, one of the things about the Queen of Swords, at least in the traditional Rider Waite, is she comes in as the grieving mother and the widow. Here, she's a very independent woman, and it looks like she has a bunch of calendula around her, which means I think that there's healing there. Now, I don't really know what that is, but I do think when you see something, even if it's not exactly what the author intended, you get to do it. So this is how I would do that reading. And I hope you got something out of it. I mean, it's nice to kind of play with a deck I don't know very well, and it's fun to use Skull One for a skull layout. So I hope you enjoy this. Remember, you can use oracles, whatever. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.